First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for this opportunity to speak at your platform. So when it comes to the main kind of motivation behind putting computational capacities in the space has already been explained by my colleague, by the previous speaker. Now let me talk about our project. Our survey satellite actually is our flagship project. Many of you have heard about that. We were able to implement this project in a very short period of time. I mean, in the shortest possible time, at least according to the Russian space program. So we were one of the record holders when it comes to development, preparation, elaboration, and actual implementation and launch of the satellite. So this whole period took slightly above 8 months. And our very first experimental satellite, Pama, was taken to the orbit in 2023, in summer 2023. So what it is, actually, it's a very small thing. It's called the Tiny Sat. It was a low orbit satellite that works at the height of 556 kilometers. So when it comes to hardware, we use some kind of inexpensive platform. It's in fact kind of one chamber computer, non-IP NITHL. So and then we use the friendly. So it has allowed us to reduce the cost, and it's going to be very easy in using this device. Actually, research component was important. We considered satellite not as a commercial project, but rather as an experimental experimental tool. So we didn't want to commercialize it, monetize it. However, we already receiving some proposals to use our experiment for the commercial purposes. And then we believe that our experiment is a success, is a hit, because in a few weeks after the satellite was taken into orbit, it became the first in the history of the hosting from the orbit. I mean, not everything was seamless. There were some vacations that when launching these kind of tiny satellites have to be kind of taken out from a larger satellite. So they're like matryoshka, you know. So the largest satellite was a launcher. It was a model of APSAT. And something went wrong there. And the main memory got damaged of the TinySat. And of course, we had the contingency plan and the difficulties that we faced after this incident have slightly modified the format of what we wanted to receive as a result of this experiment. Nevertheless, we were able to kind of recreate a kind of hosting. We were able to put an email there, a page there, which could be accessed by anyone. I mean, by using, of course, a special module and open it in the device. So we became one of the first space hosting device, although at such a primitive level and in such a primitive implementation. Meanwhile, the device that did that actually is still out there in the orbit, and it keeps on sending some simple signals, but we do not want to use it anymore because, I mean, not because we're disappointed, but because we want to launch yet another device, yet another satellite. Launch will take place on the 10th of December. It is going to be a more advanced device, and it will be advanced due to the fact that it will have access to SSR. I mean, it will have access through SSR, so a protocol that's more familiar to the on-ground networks operators. So it could also be used as the kind of usual MDTA, but on top of that, we will have the SSR that will unpack the data packages and will kind of remove the technical telemetry and technical information, and will provide the information in a standard kind of SSR approach or SSR gateway. So you could then use this SSR to communicate with the device.
You can do a fully-fledged platform for testing for various platform solutions, for various The heart of this device, this is going to be onboard computers Phoenix. The access is going to be via SSH. SSH on board, there will be the main controller, and the controller will be processing radio packages, issue commands for the satellite. For the Raspberry will write these in the console. Raspberry, the fully fledged system will be deployed. There's going to be a sandbox where there will be different parameters changing. This is going to look like will ensure as a fully fledged service. Basically, people can choose a slot to interact with the satellite. And as soon as the communication session starts, they can get connected and start interacting with this console. Basically, they can install whatever they want. They can install whatever they want, even some games, and do some. Well, it won't work out, but they can interact with the camera, get some images from there. This is also the element of edge computing, because those communication parameters they won't be really advanced from the standpoint of the speed, because to download the image you need to compress it really strongly and remove all of the unnecessary elements, because the device will be moving or rotating, and not all of these images will be of ideal quality or will contain some really good silhouette of the planet Earth. But basically, this is one of the objective for the later generation devices, to process this data, not to overload the communication channels, not to overload this with the unnecessary detail. So basically, you can play with it, try how it works, how this is going to work. This is the fifth generation devices. They have the ground infrastructure, like they said this in the previous presentation, the whole network of ground stations. They will form the so-called ground cloud-based structure. And using this ground-based cloud structure, we will allow access. This enables us to improve the possible time of interaction with satellites. We use NORAD to target satellites, and the antennas. Right next to each antenna, there is this special computational complex that will calculate its positioning. This network works based IP to 10. Well, this is a simple two-package communication channel via which users can generate various packages. We will deploy Telnet, where the users will provide a fully fledged SSH. So this is the project we're going to have. Of course, this is going to be the first test of the space solutions. We developed this demo stand, emulation or model stand. Mock stand, apart from the satellite, to prepare the image that is going to be available in our ground data centers, the image of the server with the same features, the same operating system, the same set of software to enable users to basically rehearse some of their actions on the ground, because the communication session will last from 5 to 10 minutes. And there is a long queue of people who wish to get these sessions. So for the communication sessions, you need to prepare in advance and rehearse some of your actions. So our experience indicates that you can confidently say that IT parallel comes to the space, and these solutions are becoming more massive scale. The breakthrough into the orbit in our device is a bright example of this trend, IT in space. This one operates and uses open source solutions, both for the software level and hardware level. Of course, together with the use of this paradigm, we should probably mention the new types of risks that emerge. This IT paradigm brings with its platforms into space. And basically, we do pay some attention to this question to this item for device 1 and device 2. Device 1, we did CTM on this one. According to some data, it was the first one. Some people claim the Americans did this before us. We allow everyone to break it, do the jailbreak to anyone who wishes it. And the second device, we do the standoff. Positive Technologies also offered to take a look at various vulnerabilities of the radio communication protocols. And then this time, apart from CTF, well, we haven't decided yet, but we got concerned by the fact that this device is going to be mostly protected from the majority of threats. And one of the key security vendors right now, well, I'm not gonna name them, but they are developing their own solution for this particular device. So basically, the idea that we came up with, the idea we had when choosing this concept, the development platform, this one is already in the works. There are some vendors who are developing software. The satellites, for them, it's also an important opportunity to try and test the work of their software, well, and the very tough and Spartan conditions, and to take a look at the new risks that they might face. According to our estimates, and these estimates are also backed by our colleagues from Sphere, that the satellite attacks will probably become top 5 cyber threats in the coming few years, in a few next years. So basically, cybersecurity satellites, you should probably pay special attention to cybersecurity, satellite cybersecurity, deploy the software to ensure proper integrity, proper security through the satellite operations. And like I said, our device should be used as a platform for testing all of these technologies, so that everyone willing should try to interact or popularize the idea of the internet and space. And of course, at the end of the day, I'd like to say that these projects probably pave the way into the future, a more conscious use of the progressive technologies. And we can see that the attention to these projects and initiatives is growing. And I'm confident that the notion of space, server, hosting, internet, I think we will get closer to each other, not both through the efforts of the large companies, only Elon Musk and others, the other mavericks or pioneers, but also through the efforts of smaller companies like ours, also showing that we're ready to move forward and we're ready to target new markets. Okay, thank you very much, Nikita. Thank you very much. This is just the case when the cloud is located in the skies or in the clouds. So again, this question, first of all, congratulations on this very successful project. And this is really nice how this is getting from the pilot stage, experimental stage into the commercial stage. Maybe there will be some scaling up of these projects. I'd like to ask you this. Of course, you have some idea about those objectives that satellite hosting, orbital hosting, it's going to be a priority versus the ground. Will it be a priority? Or maybe there is going to be the special client profile who might be really interested in using this space hosting. So how do you see the objective of those clients who might be interested in the satellite hosting? What it could be used for? Well, first of all, this is the remote sensing activity, and many people use it. Remote sensing objectives, various emergency services, controlling various construction sites, industrial activities. For them, it's really important to get these satellite images, remote sensing images, and get them not in a shape or in the flow. Well, basically, in a shape which creates additional workload on the comm channels. If you can process these in orbit, this is a great advantage. You can already get some ready images ready for consumption. So remote sensing, this is But the main objective, of course, we've got some various offering from various companies in the area of blockchain. They wanted to deploy some storage there in the space. But I believe out of those who can promote this sector is remote sensing, and they've got the money. There are some commercial customers, there are government customers, and the area is huge. The